Olive is an ostrich. She lives with her family in the outback. But Olive is very different. Olive's dad loves to run. Olive isn't a fast runner. Olive's mum enjoys laying huge eggs. Olive doesn't like the look of that at all. Olive's little brother pecks at the ground to find tasty roots to eat. Pecking at the ground makes Olive sneeze. But Olive has an incredible imagination. So while the rest of her family are running, pecking and laying eggs, Olive can be found imagining herself going on amazing adventures when she buries her head down, down into the sand. Until she popped up somewhere new. Olive was standing in front of a spooky castle. It was very, very tall and very, very crooked.
Oh, I wonder who lives here.
She walked up towards the big wooden door and was about to knock, but then the door creaked open all by itself.
Hello?
Said Olive. But all she could hear was her own voice echoing back. Olive crept inside the dark castle, which was hung with lots and lots of cobwebs. There was clutter everywhere.
What the heck? This place is a complete mess. How can anyone live here? I know. I'll give it a good old clean-up.
So Olive got to work. She dusted away the cobwebs, opened the curtains, and tidied up all the clutter.
Why is all this stuff lying around? Who leaves a ball of string, some toilet roll, and a big bag of flour right in the middle of the floor? I'll tidy them up onto these shelves.
Just as Olive finished, she felt a tap on her shoulder. It made her jump.
You scared the feathers out of me.
It was a spider wearing a long black cape.
Who are you and what have you done to my castle?
Asked the spider. He didn't seem too happy.
I'm Olive. I thought the place needed a little tidying up. I hope you don't mind.
My name is Count Von Tarantula, and of course I mind. I am holding a spooktacular party in 1 hour, and the place needs to look spooky. I have been spinning those cobwebs for months. What am I going to do now? And I still need to carve the pumpkins.
Olive looked around the castle and spotted some of the things she'd tidied away.
A big ball of string. I think I may have an idea.
An idea, you say? Excellent.
I can make some new cobwebs out of this ball of string and make the castle look spooky again.
And while you're doing that, I'll go and carve a spooky pumpkin.
So Olive got to work tying and knotting the string all over the place until the room looked like a giant cobweb. It took her a long time, but eventually the whole castle was looking spooky. Count Von Tarantula returned, carrying his equally spooky carved pumpkin.
Wow, Olive, this looks fantastical. This is going to be the best spooktacular party ever. Would you like to come? Oh, but what will you wear?
Oh, yes, please.
But before Olive could finish her answer, she tripped and fell back into a wall of shelves. A big bag of flour came crashing onto her head, followed by 4 toilet rolls. Count Von Tarantula had never laughed so much.
I'm sorry, Olive. Are you okay?
Yes, I think so.
Why, Olive, you look just like a mummy. Fantastical. You will be my ghost of honor at the party.
Thanks for inviting me, Count. I didn't know a tarantula could be such a great dancer.
They both laughed, and as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Actually, I've been to a spooktacular party.
Your head's been in the sand too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening. She was already dreaming of her next big adventure. Olive was in a dark cave and could hear dripping water.
Hello?
called Olive, and her voice echoed into the darkness.
Hello?
Hello? Hello?
What a funny echo.
I'm not an echo, I'm a bat. And I'm a bat too.
Olive looked to either side and could make out two little bats next to her.
We are the bats in hats.
Oh, do you mind me asking why you're called bats in hats when you're not wearing any hats?
Well, it's because we hang upside down and our hats keep falling off.
Upside down?
Olive suddenly realised that up was down and down was up. And she was in fact hanging from the top of a cave.
Oh dear, ostriches can't hang upside down.
Olive fell and landed with a plop in a big pile of hats. She stood up and straightened her feathers.
Oh, look at all these hats. One of them must be able to stay on.
No, they just keep falling off, Olive.
Well, let's give it a try, shall we?
Olive started picking up hats and popping them on the bats' heads, one after another. But they just kept falling off. She tried on woolly hats, top hats, cowboy hats, all types of hats. But they all fell off.
We told you, Olive. These hats just won't stay on.
Olive looked at the big pile of hats that they had just tried on and noticed that a thread of wool on one of the bobble hats was loose.
Bats that need hats, a loose thread. I think I may have an idea.
Olive pulled on the thread and got herself two nice long pieces. Then she took two of her favourite hats, held them on the bats' heads and used the thread to make little chin straps to hold them in place.
Perfect. Now you bats are in hats.
What? Oh dear. Now we're wearing hats. They're too heavy, Olive. We can't hold on with our feet.
The bats tried and tried to cling onto the ceiling, but the hats were indeed just too heavy, and they fell down into the pile of hats.
Are you both okay?
Asked Olive.
Yes, we're fine. But we will never be proper bats in hats.
Olive looked around the cave again and noticed some spiky rocks poking up from the ground and the hats with threads hanging from them.
Don't panic. I'm having another idea.
Olive picked up the two hats and tied either end to a tall, pointy rock, so the hats were hanging in the middle.
Now, if you fly up and cling to the ceiling, the hat should sit on your heads.
We'll give it a go.
So the bats flew up, clung to the ceiling and kept trying to stretch down to put their heads into the hats. But they were just too far away. Eventually they gave up, flopping down, exhausted, into the hats.
Oh dear, nothing I've tried seems to have worked.
Actually, Olive, these hats are really comfy. Yes, so warm.
The hats strung between the rocks were so comfortable and the little bats were so worn out from all the excitement, they started drifting off to sleep.
Looks like you bats are finally in hats.
Thanks, Olive. We're going to have a nice long nap now.
Sweet dreams. Maybe from now on you should be called the bats in hats that take naps.
They all laughed, and as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Greg, actually, I helped some bats with their hats.
Your head's been in the sun too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening. She was already dreaming of her next big adventure. Olive was standing next to a bubbling waterfall. She was wearing heavy chainmail and a knight's helmet.
Oh!
Just then, Olive heard a loud noise.
Oh, that sounds painful.
Out of nowhere leapt a huge dragon wearing an orange headband. He swished his enormous tail this way and that. It was all very impressive.
Welcome.
I'm Olive. Who are you?
I am Claude Van Doom, student of Dragon Fu.
What's dragon flu?
I will show you.
With this, Claude showed Olive some of his best dragon fu moves.
Very good flu, Claude.
I hope my examiner agrees. I am taking the final part of my Dragon Fu exam today. If I pass, my dream to become a Dragon Fu master will come true.
What do you have to do?
I will show you.
With this, Claude took a deep breath and blew as hard as he could towards a nearby tree. flames shot from his mouth and set the tree on fire in an instant. Whoosh!
The exam subject is an impressive display of fire breathing.
I think you should put that fire out, Claude.
Olive saw the bubbling waterfall behind her.
Quick, Claude, use the water to put out the fire.
Claude plunged his head into the bubbling water, quickly gulping it down before blowing the lot onto the flaming tree.
Well done, Claude. You put the fire out.
But Claude didn't look very happy. Claude tried to breathe fire, but bubbles poured out from his mouth instead.
Oh, this is a disaster. How will I pass my exam in fire breathing if I am breathing bubbles?
Olive thought. She looked down at her chainmail and plucked one of the wires free.
A wire? Bubbles? I think I may have an idea.
Olive started to pull and twist the wires into different shapes, just as Claude's examiner arrived to start the test.
So, Mr. Van Doom, I hope you're ready to impress me with your fire breathing.
Claude looked at Olive and gulped.
Yes, he is, Mr. Examiner.
I'll be the judge of that, thank you.
The examiner watched as Claude took a deep breath and started to blow bubbles from his mouth instead of fire.
Oh dear.
Said the examiner, unimpressed.
Oh dear, oh dear.
But then the bubbles squeezed through the wire shapes Olive had made and formed a huge spider, a knight, even an elephant.
Well, I need something more impressive than that.
Claude took a deep breath and blew a massive bubble right at the examiner. It surrounded him, and before he knew it, he was floating up in the air inside the bubble.
Oh, I'm floating. Oh, Claude, your display of bubble breathing is more impressive than any fire breathing. Here's your certificate.
Oh, Claude, you passed.
Thank you, Olive, for all your help. With a little practice, you too could master Dragon Fall.
Really?
With this, Olive Dragon Fu chopped a tree, sending lots of fruit falling down on top of her.
Ouch! No, I think I'll stick to looking at trees, not dragon fooing them.
They both laughed, and as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Okay, actually, I've been blowing bubbles with a dragon.
Your head's been in the sun too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening. She was already dreaming of her next big adventure. Olive was standing in a park surrounded by small, leafy bushes.
Hello there.
Said a sad voice. Olive turned and saw a gorilla.
Oh, hello, I'm Olive.
She replied.
I'm Keith. Would you be my friend, please? No one likes me round here.
Yes, of course I will, Keith. You seem very nice to me.
Olive took a step forwards and accidentally trod on something.
Oh, what was that?
She'd stepped on a tiny yellow car. It was squashed flat.
Oops.
I'm always doing that.
Olive spied a tiny little man running up to the car.
Hey, what do you think you're doing? You just stepped on my cab, lady.
I'm very sorry. I didn't see it down there.
It was then Olive noticed that the leafy bushes were actually tiny trees in a park.
Tiny trees, cars, and people. Wait a second. I'm a giant ostrich.
And I'm a giant gorilla.
There were tall skyscrapers surrounding the park. Olive was nearly as tall as some of them herself. Then Olive heard shouting. She looked down and saw a crowd of tiny little people angrily shouting up at Olive and Keith and waving their fists. They started throwing things at Olive's legs.
Ouch! Ow! Careful!
They don't like us because we keep stepping on things.
Maybe we should go somewhere else, Keith.
Keith and Olive walked out of the park and down a wide avenue.
Geg, it's really hard not to step on things. Sorry. Oh dear, sorry.
I know, it's a nightmare. Sorry.
Tiny people were running around and yelling at Olive and Keith. Sirens were going off. It was chaos.
I just want to go somewhere quiet where I don't step on anything or bother anyone.
Olive spied an especially tall skyscraper with a pointy top.
A super tall skyscraper. Lots of annoyed tiny people. I think I may have an idea. Keith, why don't we get out of everyone's way by climbing up that skyscraper?
Oh, that's the Empire State Building. Great idea.
So Olive and Keith climbed up the Empire State Building. Since they were both giants, it didn't take very long to reach the top.
Nearly there.
But there were still people shouting at them from nearby windows.
Oh, I wish they knew I was friendly.
Olive saw a helicopter swoop in and circle round them. But something was wrong with the helicopter. The rotor blade stopped turning and it started to fall.
Quick, Keith, catch it!
Keith held out his hand and caught the helicopter.
Got it.
A woman jumped out and stood on Keith's hand, followed by a man with a tiny TV camera.
Whoa, that was close. Katie Waters, NYC News, reporting live. And we've just been saved by the giant gorilla.
All the people looking out of the office windows cheered.
Thanks for saving us. What are your names?
I'm Keith Kong.
I'm Olive. Pleased to meet you.
Can I just say I love New York? Sorry for squashing things before.
Well, you two are certainly a couple of huge New York City heroes.
As a thank you, Keith was given his own special area in the park, as long as he promised to, try and stop squashing things.
Thanks for your help, Olive. Would you like to stay for a bit and I'll show you some more of New York City?
Maybe next time. But today I certainly had a huge amount of fun with you, Keith.
They both laughed, and as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Actually, I had a big adventure in New York City.
Your head's been in the sand too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening. She was already dreaming of her next big adventure. Olive found herself outside a building with tall stone walls. In the distance was a flat-topped mountain. Olive was wearing a tunic and a strange feathery helmet. Suddenly, a helmet flew past Olive's head and landed in a pile of equipment.
Looks like someone's having a bit of a clear-out.
Hail, fellow Roman.
Said a man wearing similar clothes to Olive.
Oh, me?
Yes, you. Welcome to Fort Pompeii. I am Caesar Saladius, the great Roman commander.
I see. But why are you throwing all these things out?
Well, we Romans are so good at fighting that no one wants to fight us anymore. Plus, Mummy is making me empty the fort so she can build a new swimming baths instead.
Saladius pointed to the large pile of swords, helmets and shields. There was also a huge catapult that fired rocks.
Can you help me, please, Olive? There's still loads to remove.
Okay, Saladius.
Olive began to help Saladius carry things out of the fort, but then a very stern-looking lady appeared. Saladius's bossy mother, Pusilla.
Saladius!
Yes, Mummy?
Have you still not finished clearing out this fort?
I'm just doing it now, Mummy.
Well, get on with it, please.
Olive and Caesar got back to work.
Your mummy's quite demanding, Saladius.
Tell me about it.
Suddenly, Olive heard a loud rumbling noise.
Oh, it's like your tummy rumbling.
Not me.
Olive saw that there was smoke coming out of the flat-top mountain in the distance.
Why is that mountain smoking?
Oh no, that's Mount Etna. It's a volcano. That smoke means it's about to erupt.
Cake! I'm glad it's a long way off then.
Suddenly, the volcano erupted, spewing out ash, and red-hot lava started to flow towards them. Pusilla came rushing outside.
Oh, you have to do something, Saladius. The lava and ash will cover the whole of our fort and the town of Pompeii too.
I don't know what to do, Mummy. Olive, help us, please.
Olive looked around and spied the giant catapult.
An erupting volcano? A catapult? I think I may have an idea.
Olive also spotted one of the large rocks that had been dug out ready for Pusilla's new swimming baths.
Saladius, could you please help me lift that big rock into the catapult?
Okay.
If we aim very carefully, then this rock will plug the top of the volcano and stop it erupting.
That might just work.
Olive fired the catapult. It looked like she was right on target. But the rock flew straight over the top of the volcano.
Oh!
And then bounced back off a tree.
Hooray! It's back on course.
Olive, you did it!
Yes, you've plugged the volcano and stopped the lava and ash. Pompeii is saved.
Happy to help.
You know, Saladius, I'm in such a good mood, I've decided to let you keep a little fort here, just in case of emergencies.
Oh, thank you, Mummy. And thanks to you too, Olive. Want to help me move my stuff back into the fort?
Well, all that excitement's really tired me out. But I've had a ploughly time here in Pompeii.
They all laughed, and as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
But Cake, actually, I helped stop a volcano from erupting.
Your head's been in the sand too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening. She was already dreaming of her next big adventure.
This is a spectacular place.
Olive saw a man with a huge curly moustache. He wore a red and black tunic with a crown on the front.
I'm Olive. Where am I, please?
I'm Beefy the Beefeater. You're on a tour of the Tower of London.
He answered.
Cake, I'm in London.
Olive found a camera hanging around her neck and snapped a few pictures.
And if you look to your right, you'll see the ravens. Tradition says they must never leave the tower, or the kingdom will fall. And not a single one has. Not on my watch, anyhow.
Hello, what's your name?
Olive asked.
Roberta,
And why do you look so sad, Roberta?
because I really want to explore London, like those tourists over there. I want to see all the sights, Big Ben, Buckingham Palace, and especially Trafalgar Square.
But of course you can't leave the tower.
Said Olive.
No, and Beefy is always watching and counting us.
So you need to somehow get away without Beefy realising.
Olive looked around and saw an ice cream van nearby. She also saw a lady tourist wearing a long black raincoat.
An ice cream van. A black raincoat. I think I may have an idea. Please, can I borrow your raincoat?
Olive asked the lady, who nodded. Then she bought an ice cream cone from the ice cream van. Olive put on the black raincoat and stuck the cone onto her own beak, using the ice cream to make it stick. She looked just like a raven. Well, almost.
I'll pretend to be you, Roberta, while you go to see the sights of London.
Wow, great idea.
When Beefy was looking the other way, Roberta made a dash through the tower gates. Olive tried to blend in with the other ravens, but she was so tall she really stuck out. What was worse, the ice cream cone was melting, dripping into a growing puddle at her feet. Beefy walked over and began counting the ravens.
1, 2, 3, 4.
When he got to Olive, he stopped and raised an eyebrow. Said Olive. It was a pretty good impression of a raven. Beefy shrugged and continued to count.
5, 6 ravens. Excellent.
But now, Olive's ice cream had melted so much, the cone fell off her beak.
Hang on a raven counting minute. You're not a raven. You're an ostrich. I'd better count again.
Oh no, he's going to realise there's one raven missing.
Beefy began to count.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 5?
But just in the nick of time, Roberta came swooping in over the Tower of London's walls. She landed just behind Beefy. Said Roberta loudly. Beefy spun round.
Aha! There's number 6, all safe and sound. What was I thinking? It's not like these ravens ever leave the tower. Not on my watch, anyway.
Beefy walked off to get his dinner.
No, us ravens never leave the tower.
Chuckled Roberta. This made Olive and the other ravens laugh too. And as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Cake? Actually, I've been a raven in the Tower of London.
Your head's been in the sand too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening. She was already dreaming of her next big adventure. Olive was standing in a palace courtroom. Sitting there was a man wearing a red spiky hat. He seemed very upset.
I just can't do it.
Hello there, I'm Olive. Is everything okay?
Jester!
Cake, who's that shouting?
It's the Queen. She wants entertainment during the banquet. I'm Jingles, the court jester. It's my job to make the Queen laugh, but nothing I do seems to work.
Jester, get in here now.
She said that if I can't make her laugh today, then I'll be
punished.
Well, maybe I can help. Why don't we form a double act?
Oh, thank you, Olive.
I know. Let's try a funny dance.
Olive and Jingles nervously walked up to the Queen.
And who might you be, Missy? You look like you might make a nice feathery hat.
I'm Olive, and I was hoping to help Jingles here make you laugh today.
Oh, really? Well, you better both make me laugh. Otherwise, you'll both be getting locked up in the tower.
Locked up? Where?
Begin.
Jingles plucked his lute and they both danced a hilarious jig.
Boring. Next.
You see, there's no pleasing her. It's hopeless.
Maybe we just need to be more exciting. Why don't we perform a juggling act?
Oh, all right.
Olive and Jingles rode around before the Queen on a unicycle with Jingles on Olive's shoulders, juggling 6 clubs in the air.
I've seen juggling 1,000 times before. If you don't make me laugh when you return, you'll both be sent straight to the tower.
It's okay, Jingles. We just need to do something dramatic.
Olive noticed a large pot of strawberry jam on one of the banquet tables. She also spotted 2 tall windows with long curtains.
A pot of jam, some long curtains. I think I may have an idea. Jingles, we could perform an amazing vanishing and reappearing magic trick.
Oh, well, let's hope it works.
Olive covered Jingles in the jam and then plucked out some of her feathers and stuck them onto him.
Need something else. Your shoe!
Olive stuck Jingles' shoe onto his face so it looked just like her beak.
Quick, Jingles, go over behind the curtains.
I'm waiting.
Now for our final act, a magic spectacular. I will disappear behind this curtain and then reappear immediately behind the other.
Reappear, eh? Begin. Ta-da! That was completely rubbish! I've had enough. It's off to the tower with you both.
Jingles fell to his knees before the Queen.
Please, Your Highness, give me another chance.
As Jingles knelt forward, his head feathers brushed over the Queen's bare feet.
Keep tickling, Jingles.
You really are the funniest jester this realm has ever seen.
Olive joined in, tickling the Queen with her feathers too. The Queen was laughing so much, her cheeks went bright pink.
Finally, I found out how to make the Queen laugh. All thanks to you, Olive.
Well, she certainly seems to be enjoying herself. In fact, I'd say she looks tickled pink.
They all laughed, and as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Gag, actually, I helped entertain a queen.
Your head's been in the sand too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening. She was already dreaming of her next big adventure. Olive was inside a big cave with leafy bushes at the entrance.
Yes, this will be a masterpiece.
Said a voice. Olive turned to see a bearded caveman who was painting on the wall of the cave.
Hello there, I'm Olive. I love your painting.
Ah, well, everyone does. My name is Pablo Picasso, and I'm the world's greatest cave painter. But there is a problem with this painting, Olive.
Oh, what's that then?
Asked Olive.
There's one animal missing. It should go here.
Oh, which animal would that be, Pablo?
The magnificent saber-toothed tiger.
Pablo held up his sketchbook.
You see, I go out and sketch the animals first in my sketchbook. They all stand still long enough, except the saber-toothed tiger. He's so shy, he always runs off before I can finish.
That's a shame.
Ah, my painting will never be finished.
Then Pablo's daughter walked in with his breakfast.
Ah, here's my daughter Aga. Is that breakfast?
It is. Wheatie Pops and mammoth milk, Daddy.
Oh, you know I'm allergic to mammoth milk.
Oops, sorry, I forgot.
As Pablo sneezed, he dropped his breakfast, leaving a puddle of milk on the ground outside the cave.
A breakfast I can't eat, an animal I can't paint. It's all too much.
Olive spotted the bushes at the entrance to the cave.
Some leafy bushes, a nervous saber-toothed tiger. I think I may have an idea. Pablo, can you collect some twigs and leaves off those bushes, please?
Well, I suppose so.
Then Olive and Pablo quickly stuck the twigs and leaves all over themselves.
Now, the saber-toothed tiger might be shy, but since we're camouflaged as bushes, he won't even know we're there.
Excellent plan, Olive. Now I'll be able to sketch him.
There was a problem, though. Their bush disguises were so bushy, they couldn't see where they were going.
Ouch!
Hey, sorry.
So they went round and round in circles and ended up back at the cave.
Oh, it looks like I'll never paint the saber-toothed tiger and complete my masterpiece.
Then Olive heard a gentle lapping sound.
Look, it's a saber-toothed tiger. He's drinking that mammoth milk you threw out.
Pablo looked very excited.
All right, Olive, let's get painting. Yellow, please, Olive, for the fur.
Yeah.
And now black for the stripes. And finally, white for his saber tooth.
Here you go.
Finished! And it's perfect!
Declared Pablo, a little too loudly.
Pablo, shh.
But it was too late. The tiger had heard them.
Oh, what are we going to do, Olive?
Olive had to think quickly. She pointed to the new painting on the wall, and the tiger suddenly gave a loud and contented purr.
Yes, you love your portrait, don't you?
Oh, Daddy, he's so cute. Please, can we keep him?
Definitely not. It's not just mammoth milk I'm allergic to. It's saber-toothed tigers as well. Oh, okay. Oh, he is rather sweet, I suppose. Maybe we can keep him for a bit.
I think he likes you as much as his painting.
Chuckled Olive. They all laughed, and as they did, Olive realised it was time to go.
Typical Olive, daydreaming again.
Said her mum.
Gek, actually, I helped a caveman finish his painting.
Your head's been in the sand too long, dear.
Said Olive's dad. Her little brother laughed. But Olive wasn't listening. She was already dreaming of her next big adventure.